I have quite properly said some appropriate things to and about Pittsburgh. But there were some things that happened in Pittsburgh, people I knew in Pittsburgh who were outstanding human beings. One of them, Jeannie, instinctively called them liars when she heard what they were saying about me. She just like us to laugh, lie, lie, lie. That's what that means in sign language. Because for her, the people were saying those things were quite properly a laugh. They were injurious people. She wasn't. She was absolutely spectacular. I could spend hours just, I do spend hours just thinking about it. A rare, rare, rare girl. Magnate, a rare Pittsburgh, I don't really know. She didn't rub people the wrong way the way I do. So whatever her better judgment may be over many of the people around her, she is deaf. She does have Down syndrome. The guy who comes to mind is someone else who's, I've heard the word honorable misused so many times. It's hard to reach across the human uh, dimension and things. But my tongue stops at the word honor because I would like to have a better word for him. Um, I've heard sweetheart misused. He was common person who I really have to admit I looked up to. I looked directly at. He confronted me when in the Flint construction van, quite properly, when the asshole who ran it around Kelly School ran off. I had to, being on my honor, confront the foreman about what happened. So there were a few more boxes to deliver, so I took the bait, so to speak. I didn't run off. I was boiling mad. I still am really mad. But we live in a society where tonight we learn that 895 billion plus has been given to a military industrial complex about which we have all been warned and can see for ourselves as anti-heroic, who just murdered 17,000 children in a beautiful children in a beautiful land full of beautiful people whose lives have been occupied and misappropriated for no good reason by lesser men. And I got me thinking, brain teaser. I'm not really good at brain tweezers. I got into the language spectrum of identifying my sensibilities late in the game because I didn't get to go to college. I was deaf. I washed dishes a lot. But we know $895 billion is a lot of dough. And it got our entire society to overlook the murder of 17,000 children. Now, I'm sure this man is appalled. I only met him once, and it was briefly, but he actually gave me the benefit of the doubt when I told him what happened. I wonder, though, how much money would it take to offer him when Captain Kirk ordered the van to drive around the school bus. How much money would it take to convince him to look the other way the next time it happened? $200? $800? A threat to divorce him from an undercover attack prostitute who'd been married to him by Jeffin Corporation. A threat to drag him through the muck and mire of a Donald Trump slander campaign. Rumors from Carnegie Mellon. $500. Let me figure this out. $2 million. Next time the bus is passed and school children are endangered by a reckless van driver from a museum heist network tied to Ming-Na Wen in show business in Hollywood, and Donald Trump and Israel, Nosferatu here. $895 billion. You look the other way, say, hey, go ahead, be my guest, mow him down. The guy would have said, get out of here, and taken you for a fart, you know. It's not that he wouldn't be I'm not sure what the word is. It's not that he would crony uh, a bet on a Steeler game or something. I mean, I didn't take him for somebody who was ramrod straight. But when the time came to be confrontational about something, he was confrontational. And I admire him and I respect him. He's honorable in the true sense and cherished sense of the word. It was common. It was a common man taking common acknowledgement of a very dangerous misdeed, which mercifully didn't hurt anybody. He was a stunt driver of some kind, which implicates Martin Sheen. Trying to think, that's two. Hey, man, see, I came up with two good Pittsburghs, man. Two good Pittsburghs. That ain't bad. Let me see if I can do that for Seattle. I better put on my thinking cap. I guess I struck out on that one. Is there a third Pittsburgher I can look up to and admire and speak well of? It's hard, man. Mm. Oh, Christine Cecilia seemed like a pretty sensible person. She was capable of seeing my point of view about having to dwell in an unreasonable situation, trying to get information about what was going on. And that self-deception, the unbelievable aspect of what was happening was what allowed that to happen, was I kept trying to convince myself that it wasn't true on the deepest level. I was arguing this can't be really true. This can't really be happening. But of course, it turned out that it really was true. It really was happening, and I had to prove it, too. Once the two things were on a vanishing point of into the horizon, I kept telling myself it wasn't true, and the material evidence became more and more obvious. So that when I realized that it was absolutely true, I actually managed to secure some evidence to show that fact. She said, I understand that. I guess she had experience with undercover situations. I'm not going to glamorize what she might have been withholding about how the Pittsburgh police operated with respect to me. That's probably why it took me some time to think of her, but I'm not going to impugn her reputation either. She was so very on the level, descriptive of her own pain when a child was hurt. So, I mean, you couldn't convince me that if those two people were in the same room together, checking and balancing each other, that you could offer $1 million to either one of them to hurt a school child. You wouldn't be able to tempt them by their lesser angels. That's the good thing about checks and balances is that sometimes the double cross is when you want somebody to be corrupt who isn't. I don't want to know if I'm wrong about them. I believe myself, though. If I was to ask to choose what I believe, I would believe that if you put those two people, Christine and the man who confronted me at Kelly School, into the same room to hear each other make the decision, no one else, just the two of them, 50-50, $2 million, 50-50, they would say no. I wouldn't be able to live with myself to knowingly put a child at risk that way. No. Whether they would do it on their own, if they were alone and nobody would know, I don't know. I would hope not. I think someone who didn't understand the whole situation was being explained, like Jeannie, might be more likely to laugh and say, "Give me the dough." 17,000 children for $895 billion. No chance, buddy boy. No.